In this episode of Motive's RB and Skyline GT-R tuning guide, we show you what it really costs to build a reliable 1000 horsepower Skyline GT-R street car. Now, if you're a regular viewer of our channel, you know that we've taken our R32 Skyline GT-R from, well, stock and broken, all the way through to 1100 horsepower and everything in between, while all the time trying to keep it relatively reliable, drivable, streetable, fun and fast, which is a pretty hard task to do. Now that, combined with all of the GT-Rs that we've driven, featured, and the workshops and parts companies that we've worked with over the years, means we know a little something about how to put together a 1000 horsepower plus GT-R that can do all of those things that we want it to do. Now, all of that experience combined also means that we've put together a central GT-R website called GT-R Hub, where you can buy all of the parts that we've tested and recommend, as well as GT-R merchandise, and obviously the GT-R Hub magazine that we produce, and issue 2 of that is on the way very soon. Why have we specifically chosen to talk about 1000 horsepower rather than 12, 1500, or even 2000 horsepower? That's because 1000 horsepower has always been the relatively attainable goal for GT-R owners. And we know at that power level, you can still have a great street car that is relatively reliable. It is possible to make 1000 horsepower with less mods and less money than what is in our GT-R, but making it reliable as a package requires the complete package that works together and isn't pushed to the limits and has some headroom left. So get out your notepad and settle in, because there is a lot to cover. Let's check out what's in our R32 Skyline GT-R and what it really costs to build a reliable, streetable 1000 plus horsepower Skyline GT-R. The first step is block preparation. For 1000 horsepower, we chose an RB30 block for better drivability and reliability. We have a video on our channel of the entire process to prep a block, but expect to spend in excess of $5,000 in machine work, plus $2,000 for a block brace and four-wheel drive adapter, although PRP do sell a complete block ready to go for a little over $6,000. Adding grout, final boring, and ARP 2000 main studs brings the price closer to $10,000, including buying a block. We think a billet crank is the way to go for a reliable 1000 plus horsepower, and a stroker kit means even more drivability. A Nitto 3.2 stroker kit spec'd up to wide journal crank with custom-made rod bolts is $12,000, but really is the best of the best. Add a Nitto billet oil pump for $2,100, some ACL bearings, and your rotating assembly is $25,000. For a high volume sump, expect to spend $2,500, and while you're at it, grab a Quaife front LSD for $2,000. A CRD race ported head with all the fruit, including porting, SuperTech oversized valves, double valve springs, titanium retainers, new guides, and nice big 290-degree high lift camshafts will set you back a little over $12,000. ARP custom age head studs, Nitto head and engine gasket kit, Nitto rear head drain, oil restrictor, Nitto crank sprocket, timing washers, and Woodruff keys are another $600. PRP RB30 timing belt adapter, Gates timing belt kit, Ross balancer, titanium exhaust manifold and inlet manifold studs, new water pump and thermostat, and GBOOST dock water bypass pipe. You then either need to modify your cam covers for AN fittings, baffles and splash guards and get them powder coated, or some PRP aftermarket cam covers, and either way, it's another $2,000. Labour for engine assembly is approximately $5,000, so this means our complete 3.2 stroker engine is at least $50,000 from sump to cam cover. In reality, it's more like 55,000 Australian dollars. Now, the bolt-ons. 6-boost exhaust manifold, Garrett G45 1500 turbocharger with a 101 T4 twin-scroll rear housing, K&N 5-inch filter, TurboSmart 60mm external wastegate, HYPERTUNE 100mm intercooler, TurboSmart raceport blow-off valve, HYPERTUNE V1 inlet manifold, and Bosch drive-by-wire 82mm throttle body. The base of the manifold needs to be ported to match the head, and we modified ours for new water outlets with a header tank. This, plus the custom fabrication of the intercooler pipes, turbo lines and brackets, expect to spend at least $5,000 on having it all fitted up. You also need a custom 4-inch exhaust with AES muffler and resonator, which will set you back around $2,500 by the time it's fabbed up and fitted. A custom catch can and Dash 12 breather lines will set you back approximately $1,500. Now, the fuel system. Frenchie's Performance Garage drop-in pump with billet hanger, Injector Dynamics IDX 2600 injectors, TurboSmart fuel pressure regulator, PRP mechanical fuel pump kit, a custom surge tank up front, plus making and fitting all of the custom fuel lines with fittings will set you back another $5,000, if not more. Next, the oiling and cooling system. PWR radiator, oil cooler, Clearview remote filter, JHH sandwich plate. You'll need Dash 10 braided lines and fittings, as well as some custom work on the radiator and water lines, which will set you back as much as $3,000. Now onto the electronics. Haltech Elite 2500 ECU, Haltech IC7 digital dash, Haltech map sensor, TurboSmart 4-port boost control solenoid, Haltech EGT sensors and weld-on bungs, Haltech wideband O2 kit, fast response air temp sensor, Haltech oil pressure, oil temperature and fuel pressure sensors, a Garrett turbo speed sensor, exhaust back pressure sensor and adapter, and you're going to need a 150 amp alternator or a PRP LS1 alternator bracket and new LS1 alternator, PRP R35 coil kit, Ross trigger kit, 4-wheel drive controller, and you'll need to wire all of this into the car and set it all up. You'll also need to set up the digital dash to read fuel and turn signals and then get the car running. In total, you can expect to spend at least $5,000 in labour and material for that wiring. Getting the RB30 into the car requires a few extra bits and pieces. PRP subframe spacers, tough mounts, engine mounts, and a PRP clutch booster delete. You'll probably need to make a custom power steering reservoir and lines. This, combined with various bits and bobs during the build, and it's best to factor in at least another $2,000. The total is now getting rather scary to some people, and that's just for the engine in the car. Now, the drivetrain to hold 1,000 horsepower. You already have the front LSD, but best to factor in at least a freshen up of the rear LSD. A direct clutch services 9-inch twin plate clutch, and the most important part of a big power GT-R build, a transmission to hold the power. It may be the most expensive single item purchase in the build, but it's essential to make the most of the car. We use a PPG 6-speed sequential transmission, which comes with strain gauge gear knob, wiring and gear display. Let's pause to watch why it's so important. Power and drivetrain sorted, you still need to put the power down. So suspension needs some upgrading. You'll need some quality coilovers. We have Teen with EDFC control in our car, but we also recommend Shockworks. A GKTECH HICAS lock bar, as the 4-wheel steering system most certainly does not work with 1,000 horsepower. Rear adjustable camber arms and subframe collars. And up front, adjustable caster rods, and we use GKTECH roll center and bump steer adjusters to offset the lowered subframe. The other thing required to put the power down is some decent rubber. We run 18 by 10-inch Buddy Club P1s with Yokohama 265/35/18 8008 tyres for the street, and 17 by 9-inch wheels with Mickey Thompson ET Street R drag radials for the track. A brake upgrade is also essential for a big powered GT-R. We have a 6-piston brake kit with 355mm rotors, and you can expect to spend around $3,000 for something similar. Up back, Brembo 2-piston calipers, DBA rotors, Project Mu HC Plus brake pads, braided brake lines, and we also have a GKTECH ABS delete kit and a line locker so we can do this. Now you have big power, the supporting drivetrain, and the ability to put it down and stop. The next part is where things become more to the owner's discretion: the exterior, interior, and safety. We use Velo fixed bucket seats, SFI approved 6-point harnesses, a Momo suede steering wheel, and a removable wheel boss kit. Our opinion is that a 30-year-old car isn't exactly safe in an accident. Jack up an R32 and the door won't open and close properly. So a roll cage not only protects you, but makes the chassis stiffer and able to handle the power better. A tight-fitting, good quality roll cage like ours will set you back at least $5,000. If you want to be teched for drag racing, you'll need a parachute mount, chute, and bracket to hold the release handle, plus a belly pan and scatter shield. All up, expect to spend at least $10,000 on teching your car to drag race.
The exterior modifications of the car really are up to the owner, but personally, we feel that a big powered GT-R needs a vented bonnet with bonnet catchers like this top secret dry carbon item, and a motive headlight duct for better heat management and to get fresh air to the turbocharger. An N1 boot lip spoiler will also aid high-speed stability, and garage active Group A mirrors reduce drag. Anything beyond that is pretty much purely cosmetic.
Well, there you have it. That is our recipe for an 1100 horsepower R32 Skyline GT-R that is fun, drivable, and obviously damn fast. But the best thing about it is it's actually been pretty reliable. It's done multiple dyno competitions, roll racing, the drags. In fact, that engine's been going for a few years now and still hasn't needed to be pulled down. So that is a testament to CRD and all of the parts that we've used in that car to make that package. Now, is that the only way to build a 1000 horsepower GT-R? Hell no, there are plenty of different ways to do it, but I will say this: you can make that power for a lot less, but like we always say with cars, you can choose 2 out of 3 for fast, reliable, and cheap. So you can have a cheap and powerful GT-R, but it won't be reliable. I have seen guys use, standard RB30 cranks, just have rods, pistons, no headwork, factory inlet manifold, a Just Jap intercooler, and a Chinese copy turbo, and make 1000 horsepower with a little bit of nitrous on there. But is it drivable? Is it reliable? And can it put the power down and use it? Obviously, some big ticket items you have to have. Like, you have to have the gearbox that can hold the power to make it reliable. And all the support gear on ours is the difference between something that's a one-hit wonder or only a drag pig and being a good street car. But as you can see, it gets very expensive very quickly. And this is why 7 and 8 second GT-Rs that are fully rebuilt from the ground up, they sell for pretty good money and they're worth it. And you should definitely pay that sort of money if you want to build that sort of car. So hopefully this has given you a good insight into what it really takes to build a serious Aussie GT-R. So make sure you subscribe. We've got heaps more tech coming in our Motive RB and Skyline GT-R tuning guide. See you then.